Hey everybody, welcome back to the DenCast. This is our third episode. Tonight we've got Ryan Wollen with us. Ryan is the commander-in-chief, so to speak, of the Sault Junior Blue Devils football program. Ryan, thanks for joining us. Really nice to have you here tonight.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Like I said, I think what you guys do is great for the UP for sports, and I thought it would just be cool to come on and talk some Sault Junior Blue Devils football.
That sounds like a good deal. Now I'm going to throw some stuff out, and you're going to tell me if I'm right or wrong here.
Okay.
The Junior Blue Devils program is 5th through 8th grade.
Yes.
Okay. Roughly how many kids does that involve?
So last year we had almost, I think for our 5th and 6th grade, we had to have 2 teams because the league rules that they're in through the Northwest Youth Football Conference, you're only allowed 36 kids on a team. So we had, I want to say, it was close to, I don't know, almost 60, somewhere in there. So we had to split them up into 2 teams as evenly as we could. And then for our 7th and 8th grade team, which we combined, we had probably almost 40 kids. So we're looking anywhere from a given year. You get a few kids that come out and find out it's not for them either. But usually, like last year, it was about almost 80 kids, and we're assuming it's, as of right now, it's going to probably be the same for this year.
So those are great numbers for
absolutely.
youth football.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's stemming too from this flag football that has been introduced to town. It's getting kids really interested in football because they can start at I don't know the exact age that they can start, but after our practices, all 3 fields are just filled with kids and teams. So credit to Mel Kipper and his staff for, I think that is a big thing to getting kids interested early on, and then it just promotes them to come up and want to get ready for tackle football by the time they hit 5th grade.
So how old are the kids that are doing the flag football?
Flag football, like I said, anywhere from 4th grade down. I don't know their exact. I'm not very. I'm not involved in the Sioux flag football, so I couldn't tell you the exact details. But there's some pretty young kids running around there, elementary school age. But they obviously can't play contact football until they hit 5th grade.
Okay. Now, you guys ran into a situation last year, if I'm remembering correctly, where you guys were actually coming up short on equipment because you had so many kids.
Yeah, that was maybe last year. Last year at the end of the year before last, Mike Lynn and I really realized, hey, we need a lot more equipment. Stuff was just either really outdated or we just didn't have enough for the amount of kids that were coming in. So we kind of had to get some fundraising efforts together. And there was a lot of teams locally around the area that donated equipment, like Rudyard donated a bunch of shoulder pads. I believe it was Grayling actually gave us a bunch of helmets that we could borrow for a year to be able to get kids to be able to play because, I'm not going to let kids go out there with equipment that wasn't safe.
Sure.
Obviously. But Mike Lynn was big in helping me. He donated a lot of money through his business, and then a lot of local businesses also pitched in and really showed the community support for the young kids. So that was awesome to see, and we really appreciated that.
So what does it say to you, not just about our community, but about communities in the area and not even in our area, that football is important enough to them that they want to make sure that it's being played, even if it's not their kids?
Right, exactly. I think it means a lot. I think a lot of these areas in the EUP have always been rooting for each other, right? Whether, when Rudyard's going to a state final, like everybody in the UP is behind them, or St. Ignace when they were going in basketball. I just think that we live the EUP is such a great place to grow up and live, and everybody supports each other, and I just think that's great. And everybody's willing to help each other out, which really meant a lot.
Okay. Now, a lot of schools in our area, the Sioux is the only school left in the area that plays 11-man football.
Yep.
What do you think are the biggest factors in the numbers dying off like they are?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's I don't know if it's just kids are more involved in the technology nowadays and they just don't want to come out and play the sports. I mean, it could be that. It could be a lot of different things. I don't really know. That's a tough question.
Okay.
It's
I was curious because based on the numbers that you guys are getting, it doesn't seem like the Sioux is going to be in any danger of dropping below 11 man anytime soon.
right, and I hope I mean, nothing against 8 man. I just don't know anything about 8 man, obviously. So I hope it stays 11 man in the Sioux. But as far as numbers go, that's just a good question. I just don't know if the kids just aren't as interested in maybe as they used to be.
Okay.
I guess it's not their fault if they're not interested. They're just not interested.
Sure.
But
Now, for those of you that don't remember this, Ryan was actually the first story that we published online as the EUP Sports Den, talking about this very football program. This is your second year of running the program now?
yes.
And third year of involvement with the
Third
program.
year as the head coach for the 7th and 8th grade team, but second year since I got with Scott Menard, and he gave me the responsibility to be the program director for the whole Sioux Junior Blue Devil football program.
Okay. Now, are there any big changes that you've made between the time you took over and right now?
Well, I think just we've gotten all brand new equipment. We got all brand new helmets. We've gotten all brand new shoulder pads. We've gotten new uniforms for the kids to wear. The 5th and 6th grade used to be called the Sioux Giants forever, and we decided just to keep it all one team. So 5th through 8th grade is all Sioux Junior Blue Devils football. And we put our 5th and 6th grade in a league with the Northwest Youth Football Conference, which is consisted of like Sheboygan, Alpena, Tawas, Oscoda. I know I'm missing a few other teams, but yeah, we've pretty much gotten all brand new equipment for the kids, up to code. And yeah, I think that's probably the biggest change so far.
Okay. Now, does it work like when my stepson Shane played for the Brimley Colts, it would be everybody gathers in one place on a Saturday and there's like 5 games played. Is that how junior high football works now?
For the 5th and 6th grade level, that's how it works. Through the league, everybody goes, I think they do 2 fields. So everybody gets to host, depending on what date you can host. But everybody goes to a field and pretty much meets there. And yes, throughout the whole day, through the morning into the afternoon, you'd play your game and then you're done. You go home. And those are on Saturdays. And that was another big change I think we made was, I know for a long time there, our youth program didn't get a home game. So I'm pretty proud that we were able to, last year, be able to host a game. And then for our 7th and 8th grade, have a couple home games, because that's huge for us. That's a big money maker,
Sure.
with concessions and bringing people out. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, our 5th and 6th grade still plays just on Saturdays.
Okay.
But our 7th and 8th grade, I kept us independent. I don't have us in a league. Main reason being I want to be able to make my own schedule where I pretty much have our 7th and 8th grade playing Big North Conference. Where we play Marquette, Alpena, Petoskey. We keep Sheboygan on there for the rivalry game. We're going to get Gaylord this year, it sounds like.
Wow.
So getting the kids the familiarity of playing those teams that you're going to see when they're in high school, I think that was big and for their development.
So you're definitely not shying away from the competition.
Oh, no. I mean, you coach forever. I mean, you're only as good as the competition you play, right? And it's only going to make these kids better, in my opinion, by seeing these kids early on and knowing, okay, this team's pretty good. We got to either match that or obviously you want to be better than that. So
Right.
We're pretty pumped up that we were able to keep it Big North.
Okay. What year did you graduate from Sioux High?
I graduated in 2013.
Okay.
So I played, obviously, the 2012-2013 football. And then I was a junior, for basketball when Riley and Steve were seniors. So it was about 10 years ago, 11 now.
Okay, and that's Riley and Steve Angeli.
Yep. Very fortunate to be able to play on some pretty good teams growing up, and it just made me fall in love with the sports, and great group of guys, still close with a lot of them. And that's why I just love coaching. I think I want to give back and give these kids the experience that I had, because we had a lot of fun and made a lot of good memories.
Sure. Now, like you said, I've coached forever. I know what kind of time coaching takes. How do you juggle a full-time job, coaching, marriage, and now a baby on the way, from what I understand?
Yep. It's just a lot of talks with my wife at home, but she's the real hero behind the scenes, because she knows how passionate I am about it, and she's my number one supporter. And actually, she's kind of like my administrative assistant, right? She's involved in everything when it comes to helping me order equipment, or just being organized, or just every decision that I make, she's right there and willing to help me. And she's a big part of it behind the scenes. So having her being there, if she wasn't the type of person she was, it probably wouldn't work out very well.
Yeah, I understand completely. So when does daddy duty start?
Christmas Eve is the due date this year.
Really?
They're calling for a Christmas Eve baby, December 24th. So we'll see how it falls. I know it doesn't always exactly go on the date as planned, but
yeah,
we're really looking forward to it. So
I can imagine.
Yeah, no, we're thrilled and can't wait to meet our. It's a little girl, so we're really excited.
Okay. Do you guys have a name picked out yet?
No, we don't. We're juggling through a couple names, but nothing set in stone at this time.
And you're not even going to give us the candidates?
No, I think we'll keep it a surprise.
Oh, you're killing me. Okay, so you mentioned Taylor as your administrative assistant.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Coaching is not something that's usually done solo. I know you've got a pretty good staff around you helping you with the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th grade teams. Talk about those people a little bit, and what they do in terms of making your life easier and helping these kids as well.
When it came down to trying to put people in order, my dad's always given me really good advice of this is, you're only as good as the people around you, right? So Mike Lynn came and he coached my very first year coaching. He went down to 5th and 6th because he had a boy playing, and so when his boy got old enough, he's on our team now. Last year, Mike came and helped me out, and he's obviously been around football for a long time, knows a lot about the offensive side of the football. So I've been learning a lot from him, just on offensive philosophy and why you do this that way, or how you attack a defense that way. So Mike Lynn has been great. And then I also got my brother Tyler Wollen helps me out. He does our defensive backs, and he also helps out on defense. And then Brett Jones, who's very good. He's been helping me out in the weight room since January. We've had 7th and 8th grade kids. This winter, we started, like I said, in January. We probably had a steady number of anywhere from 15 to 20 kids Monday through Thursday coming to the weight room.
Really?
And Brett Jones I kind of put him in charge of that. He's very good strength and conditioning coach, and really helps me with the offensive and defensive line. Very smart when it comes to football, and just another person that I've learned a lot from. And because the O-line, D-line really isn't my specialty. Sure. I think I know a little bit about it, but he's really helped me dive into that. Great coach, does great with the kids, as long as so does Tyler. And then for our 5th and 6th grade, we have Brandon Garlinghouse. Steve Lockwood used to coach here. He's coming back this year.
He used to be the athletic director, didn't he not?
Yep. He's got a kid playing in the 5th and 6th grade, so he's going to be there. Matt Miller, who's helped out last year, he's going to be back. And we got a few other parents. This will be their first year coming and playing, coaching the kids. So especially with the 5th and 6th grade, the young guys, the more coaches that we can get, the better, because we like to try to keep the kids busy and keep it rolling to keep their attention span. So we're still working on a couple other coaches. Anybody who wants to come and volunteer, especially for 5th and 6th grade level, we take all the help that we can get.
Well, hopefully anybody listening to this that wants to coach, feel free to contact Ryan and he'll hook you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now a lot of your life is about football right now.
Yep.
I know on Friday nights, that's not a night off for you either because you're sitting in the booth with Dave Watson calling Sioux High varsity games.
Yeah, I grew up actually. Dave was one of the reasons why I just loved Sioux High football and Sioux High sports in general. I've always been around Sioux High sports, but I remember the games that we couldn't go to, whether I was going with my dad or my grandpa O or just someone in the family. We would turn on Dave Watson, and he's done a great job for a long time. So I kind of reached out to him after I got out of high school a couple years later, and he said that, yeah, he'd love to have me after Pat decided that he couldn't do it anymore. So it's been a lot of fun. Dave's, he does it, like I said, does a great job on the radio, and he does his homework. I mean, he knows EUP sports and professional sports. I mean, he's just, that's what his true passion is, and I just think he does a great job, and I have a blast doing the football games with him.
What kind of perspective does it give you? I mean, when you're coaching your teams, you're on the field with them.
Yeah.
What kind of different perspective do you get being up in the booth? And I mean, there's still an emotional connection because it's the Sioux, but
Yeah.
Do you see things a little bit differently from up there and not being quite as attached maybe as you would be to a team that you were actually physically coaching?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You just got a different angle. I mean, you can see everything because it's like you're right on top of the field. So you see everything at a different angle. And, okay, maybe, for example, like how a defensive line plays and like how Mike Lynn talks. Okay, if this guy's playing a certain technique on defense, we're going to attack him that way. I think it's a little easier to see when you're up in the box, and it's easier said than done to sit there and talk about it than be on the field and actually doing it and being in the moment for sure. But I think that's the biggest different perspective that you get is you do see it a lot differently just because you get a different view of the game and you can see the plays develop. Like when a tackle's or a guard's pulling and kicking out the defensive end, you can see it all.
You can
kind
see
of
it
coming in slow motion, you
Yeah.
know. So it's a neat perspective to see.
Okay. So let's go back in time just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You said you graduated from Sioux High in
2013.
Which means right around 2009 or 2010, you would have been putting on a freshman basketball uniform.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know this, Ryan played for me when I coached the Sioux High freshman boys. Very interesting group of kids.
We had a lot of fun.
To say the least. What do you recall about that experience?
I just remember, we had a lot of fun together. We took it serious when we had to take it serious, but I also remember practices, there was times at practice when we were doing a drill or something, we were serious, but I remember it was a close-knit group and, you coached us hard, but at the same time you were fair with everybody. And I think that was the biggest thing is everybody got along and there was really no drama and everybody played hard together and we had some success. We had some good games. We had some bad games. I mean, especially me, I know basketball wasn't my expertise. So, but I had a lot of fun, got to play with my friends and that's what I recall. Just took it serious when we had to, when it was time to, but we all knew how to have a good time and have a good laugh at the end of the day.
There's a few things I'll never forget regarding your group. One of them is a time we played in Mackinac City because we used to go down and play as Mackinac City's JV team because they didn't have enough boys for a JV team.
Mm-hmm.
So we were down there filling in for their JVs, and after the game, I can't remember which player it was, came up to me and said that the locker room had been trashed while we were playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you're going to remember this when I tell you why. So I went and told the Mackinac City athletic director, and he said that no, some of his kids had reported that it was us that had trashed the locker room. So I was mad. And I didn't even know if I was mad at you guys or mad at the Mackinac City AD for trying to pin something on us. But we went into the locker room after the game, and the toilet was so plugged up with toilet paper and whatnot that it was overflowing. And I got so mad at you guys, I said, we're not leaving here until somebody fishes that out so this toilet will flush again. Do you remember who fished it out?
Honestly, Scott, I don't recall.
We were just talking about him a minute ago.
It had to be Russ Lippinen.
Russ Lippinen.
Oh, he's afraid. He's not afraid to get his hands.
Russ Lippinen stuck his hand in that toilet, elbow deep.
That doesn't surprise me.
And fished out what was probably an entire roll of toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
And threw it out.
Yeah, he's kind of a micro dirty jobs type guy. So.
I couldn't believe it. I could not. I sat there stunned. Because while I had told you guys to do it, I never really thought anybody would just go over there and dive in. And Russ...
he just wanted to get home, probably.
That could be true. That could be true.
I remember when... I don't ever remember anyone on our team doing that. I don't think any of the kids would have intentionally done that anyway. But I do remember, like, my JV and varsity year, we used to play baseball in the locker room. We'd get a sock and one of our gym shoes, and we'd sit and play. That was kind of like our pregame ritual, was playing baseball in that little tiny dressing room for the basketball team. So
you guys were not my responsibility at that point. So.
It got a little rowdy sometimes, but it all turned out good. But I don't remember any of our guys doing something like that. But.
The other thing that I always remember with your group, as far as basketball goes, is the game we played in Sheboygan, where Boots,
Austin Brown,
Brown, leveled a kid.
Oh yeah,
going in for a layup. I mean, just flat out middle linebackered him into about the third row.
Well, he only had one speed, and that's just how he played.
Yeah. Well, I went over to yell at him about it, and he looked up at me, and he was close to tears.
Yeah.
Sorry, Boots. I know you probably didn't want me to tell that, but he was close to tears, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he says to me,
"Just playing hard."
Well, he said, "Coach, if you heard what they said to me, you'd have done the same thing." I said, "Okay, I can't really argue with that."
Oh, Boots. Yeah. No, he was really, about that time is when a lot of those guys really started hitting the weight room really hard. Mm-hmm. About that 8th grade freshman year. And Austin Brown was probably one of the strongest kids in our class, I would say. I mean, he really was a man amongst boys out there playing football, and he that's what he wanted to do at the time, and he was a good athlete too.
Well, I mean, you could tell even as a freshman that kid was. I mean, he was put together.
Yeah, and you would never think that he's, when he's on the football field, he turns into a maniac, because he's like the nicest person that you'd ever have a conversation with, right? And then he puts on a football helmet and crosses that line, and it's like the lights come on, and it's just one vision, and you didn't want to get in his way.
Even when I told that story, and he told me, Coach, he spoke in almost a whisper.
Yeah.
Like his voice never got above a whisper in practice, in games, in anything. But again, that's... Basketball and football were a little different for Boots, I think.
He was one speed, and that was full speed all the time.
Yeah. I still have a picture of you guys somewhere where you guys all decided that it would be a great picture to get into the Lost and Found box, and everybody put something on from the Lost and Found box. And we took a picture like that in the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still floating around my house somewhere, but for the life of me, I couldn't tell you where. But I'm going to dig it out now that we've had this talk.
Oh, geez. Just don't put it on social media, whatever you do.
Oh, you're screwed. I'm not in the picture.
Yeah.
What do you think we do with the podcast?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Again, it was just it was a great group of guys that I graduated with, and we were tight, and we all had one goal. Especially, I remember quite a few of us got moved up my sophomore year to varsity. I think there was like 6 of us. And, it was really important to us Sioux High football really hadn't done anything in a while, since probably 07 or 08. And we just wanted to kind of put it back on the map. And it meant a lot to us to kind of get things up and rolling again.
Sure.
And so that just made us that much tighter. As any coach, you want a group that works together. Everybody knows their role, and they don't play outside their role. They play within their role, you play for each other, right? We were. That's all I can say about the group that I played with. There was no selfishness, at least in my senior class, anyway.
Right. So you're doing this now. What plans have you looked down the road at all? I mean, what does the future hold for Ryan Wollen?
I really enjoy the level that I'm at right now with the 7th and 8th grade kids. I think down the road, I'd love to, maybe go to JV or varsity. We'll just see what happens, But right now, I'm really enjoying this role of the 7th and 8th grade kids because I think it's so imperative if you want a good program to start these kids out with the fundamentals. And, big thing that we preach is just doing the little things right. I tell the kids all the time at practice, I know you probably think this drill's boring, but there's a reason behind why we're doing it, right? If we can do the little things right and consistently and do it right all the time where it becomes just natural, it's just going to make us that much better. So trying to get kids at that age to buy into it is a challenge, but a lot of them have really been starting to buy in and see the process behind everything. So, down the road, I'd like to do the high school level, but my commitment right now is to just build a strong foundation at the middle school level. That way these kids can step in and hopefully be productive when they get to high school because there's no freshman team. I mean, these kids are stepping right up to JV level and some of the better ones are going right up to varsity as freshmen.
Right.
So, I take a lot of responsibility on myself I need to get not just me, but me and the coaches need to get these kids ready fundamentally and for that next level because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're playing for Friday nights, right? So we do the best that we can to work on the fundamentals every single day, and it's been really fun, and the kids are really starting to pick up on it.
That's great. That's great. It's awesome that you're doing that for kids that age, and it helps you, helps them, helps the JV and varsity teams down the road.
Right, and we tell them all the time too. Like I remember this year in the weight room, we'd have the kids go in the gym and we'd do some suicides or something, but bringing them over to the banners that they got all up there and looking up at the Sioux High banner, it's like, hey, there's only been 8 or 9 teams in the history of this whole school that have made it to the playoffs. Right. You guys can be a part of something really special if you want to, but getting them to realize that, us coaches can't want it for you. You guys, you're only going to get what you put into it, right? And that's really resonated with the kids through the weight room this year, the 7th and 8th graders anyway, when, we're just having them do basic lifts, nothing strenuous, it's just kind of an intermediate course to weightlifting. But these kids that are really trying hard, and then we have them max out, and then a couple months down the road, they max out again and see, holy, I'm up 50 more pounds than what I was the time before that. That's what it's all about. When you put in the hard work and you see the results from it, it just lights them up, and that's what we're hoping for come the season as well.
Well, and that kind of gives you an idea as to the character of that kid. Like, that a kid who's showing up consistently in the weight room over the summer is probably going to be one of the ones putting in the work and getting better. And
right, and we try to teach leadership to the kids too. I pull the 8th graders aside and say, listen, this isn't my team. This is your team, man. I mean, as a coach, I mean, that too. You reach out to your best players on the team or your leaders, and you just tell them, like, you're the natural leader of this group. When you're up, they're going to be up. When you're down or have a bad attitude, what do you think their attitude is going to be? So trying to teach leadership as well. And, we bring in a lot of life lessons, too, to the practices and things. Like, I remember last year we got beat up by Escanaba and Marquette pretty good, and Petoskey. And, the kids, you could tell that they just they gave in, they quit.
Sure.
And, to me, that's just unacceptable, and what are you going to do down the road when you have a boss that you don't like? You just going to quit? Or how are you going to pay for gas? How are you going to pay for your house? You don't like your teammate? Do you think you're going to like everybody you work with down the road?
Right. It's
part of life. You got to get used to it. You got to learn to work together, come as one. And I think football is one of the best things for that. I think it's the ultimate team sport. I mean, every sport's important. I'm a little biased because I coach football, but I mean, it really takes all 11 guys working as one. It's physically demanding. It's mentally demanding. I mean, and you need everybody working as one to have success. So we take a lot of pride in it.
Well, hopefully this season will bear some fruit in that regard. All right, so let's say people are looking for information on the junior football team. Where would they find that stuff?
So we just made a new page on Facebook called Sioux Junior Blue Devils Football. We put everything that we have going on there, from 5th and 6th grade to 7th and 8th grade, practice times, game times, fundraising ideas, or fundraisers that we have going on at the time. So any information that you want for 5th through 8th grade football will be put on that Sioux Junior Blue Devils football page.
Okay, and that page will eventually be linked to our EUP Sports Den website, so you can go there and check out two things at once if you need to.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you coming and talking to us tonight, and hopefully we'll get out and watch your guys' home game or home games this season.
Yeah, I know our 7th and 8th grade, we probably have, we're not set in stone yet for our schedule. I'm still waiting on a couple teams to get back to me, hopefully by next week, because I mean, August 5th is our first practice. So, but yeah, we'll have about 3 or 4 home games, maybe more, for our 7th and 8th grades. So if you're interested, these kids have been putting in a lot of hard work and effort and time, and that's a credit to them and their parents, because I think that's just something that's kind of gotten lost. So, yeah, we appreciate your support and you guys supporting us.
Well, yeah, it's our pleasure to do stuff like that. And actually, you're helping us out too. You'll be able to find that schedule on the Facebook page as well as on our EUP Sports Den calendar page. Take a look, check it out. It'll have all your local sports activities and games going on. You'll be able to see who's playing where, when. So give it a look. Ryan, thank you again. It's been great having you, and hopefully this season continues to grow that program, and hopefully you guys do some good things.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We appreciate it, and we appreciate everything. I know a lot of people appreciate what you guys are doing too, covering the UP sports. I know a lot of people that follow it and have been talking about it with me. So thank you guys too. We appreciate you.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, you as well.
Thank you guys for listening, and girls, and we'll talk to you soon.